But although Wimbledon is regarded as the home of lawn tennis, the game actually started here in Birmingham. And yesterday, the oldest tennis club in the world celebrated its 125th anniversary in suitable style.
It was like stepping back in time at the Edgbaston Archery and Lawn Tennis Club yesterday afternoon, and it was hard to imagine the name of the game was still the same. This was how they dressed for lawn tennis over 100 years ago, when it was a leisurely pastime for gentlemen and their ladies. It was played on the large lawns of grand country houses and was very much a social occasion. Lawn tennis was first played around 1860, just a mile away in Ampton Road, Edgbaston, and was devised by a local solicitor and a merchant friend. It came to the Archery Club in the 1870s, a couple of years before even Wimbledon got underway. So the toast yesterday was the oldest lawn tennis club in the world, and the members dug deep into their attics to find the costumes and even rackets of a bygone age. Of course, there was none of the grunting and groaning that goes on at Wimbledon. No McEnroe lookalikes, not even a white leotard, just crinoline and flannel, and the order of the day, mixed doubles. And in those early days, what sort of game was tennis?
Chiefly a mixed doubles game between, as they put it rather quaintly, one lady and one gentleman, and another lady and another gentleman.
Did many people play it?
It was growing in popularity and grew tremendously fast.
And of course it was a very genteel game in those days.
Oh, very genteel. In fact, the gentlemen were instructed when serving to ladies to serve gently.
So what do you think of the old costumes?
It's very warm. It's not as comfortable to play in as the modern ones.
And of course you've got the hat, the bonnet as well.
That's right, yes, it restricts your vision a bit with the lobs.
And what about the racket?
It's very difficult to get used to. It's not as wide, but it's good fun.
With cucumber sandwiches and strawberries for tea, it was all very splendid. And at least one thing hasn't changed: the weather. It rained, of course.
Will you watch the Dicky Bird? Excuse me, sir, just mind moving towards... Excuse me, can I have everybody's attention, please? I want after three everyone to say gorillas and a big smile, okay? After three. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it wasn't loud enough. Got to put a lot of life into it for a big smile. Okay, everybody, and again. 1, 2, 3. Good, okay.
Yeah, again, the warm. Thank you and Victoria. Thank you and Victoria. Right. I don't know where that part. Oh, you've got one. We're on. I'm just a bit further up. We're on.
Yes, I always used to play in the old archery tournament when the old pavilion was here. Hands going. Whoa, I think that. Yeah.
Lady to call.
Yes, well, yes, which is impolite. You haven't read the rules. On the line, Ron. Nobody's on the line out, calls that was.
Probably get you out of trouble there, Mike.
People having trouble moving. One game adrift from break it even.
Yes.
It is.
Out.
Actually, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they did.
I've lost my partner. That me, oh dearie me, I'm no.
You've got these. Sorry. Are they prepared to go straight on? Are you prepared to go straight back on? There we go. Speak to the referee about how the handicap works. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the final of the tournament, and for those of you who have looked through the records of the society, you will notice that at some stage during the 1870s there was a match advertised on these very courts in which it was stated that one gentleman and one lady would play on one side of the net and one gentleman and one lady would play on the other side of the net, and hence was born the mixed doubles. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have one gentleman and one lady on this side of the net, and therefore I'd ask Mr. Guy Litherland and Mrs. Liz Litherland to take this side of the net. And Mrs. Janice Wainwright and Mr. Peter Mockridge to take that side of the net.
The wicked serve. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Edgbaston Archery and Lawn Tennis Society, may I first of all welcome you all here this afternoon. It seems a far cry from the days when this club was first started. For those of you who've looked at the records, you'll note that we were founded in 1860 as an archery club, and that tennis, or as the game was called in those days, according to one's pronunciation, sperry strike, or sperry stricky as some people call it, was introduced in about 1875, officially. Although there are records to suggest that the game of tennis, or sperry stricky, or sperry strike was being played here in 1873. There were advertisements being published to suggest that tournaments were being held here in 1873. Now, we believe that is true, and if it is true, all these counterclaims are totally unfounded. The game of lawn tennis was invented here in Edgbaston in 1865. It went to Leamington. The Leamington Club, as such, at the Manor House Hotel, closed down in the 1840s. It came here, we believe, in 1873. That is some 4 years before the championships were started at the All England Club. At the same time, or approximately the same time, the game was started up in Solihull. The Solihull Club, as it was then, is now defunct. It was also started in 1873 at the Edgbaston Cricket and Lawn Tennis Club, which later changed its name to the Edgbaston Lawn Tennis Club, which is now, of course, amalgamated with the with Priory Lawn Tennis Club, and therefore, as far as Edgbaston Archery is concerned, with respect to our winners, is defunct. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we proudly maintain, until proved otherwise,
that the Edgbaston Archery and Lawn Tennis Society is in fact the oldest tennis club still playing on the same grounds, most certainly, in the county, in the United Kingdom, and by inference in the world. The losing semi-finalists, Mr. and Miss Broadhead. And Miss Wood and Mr. Ward. No, that is not seemly. The runners-up, Mrs. Wainwright and Mr. Mockridge. And the winners, ladies and gentlemen, of Edgbaston Archery's 125th anniversary invitation costume tournament, Mr. and Mrs. Guy Litherland. We do have prizes also, ladies and gentlemen, for the best dressed gentleman and the best dressed lady here this afternoon. Now, the judges have been wandering around you, probably unnoticed, they being my own wife and Dr. MacDonald, somewhere around.
Collect your prizes,
and I trust that they haven't told me whom they have chosen. I do trust that they have chosen a winner. But the prizes to you.
Right, Mr. Chairman. I haven't got the chairman's voice, but Mr. Chairman, Mr. Captain, and guests, we've had a very difficult task this afternoon. And after much thought, deliberation, even photography, I hope we have come to a wise decision. I'm looking for her, but I have the pleasure to announce the lady. She is a perfect English rose. Deborah Barkswell and Balsall Common, please step forward. And I haven't put my telephone number in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again.
thank you to Tony Houghton and Jack Cotton and Partners for making this afternoon possible. The draw for the raffle will take place in the clubhouse sometime during the next quarter of an hour, and I trust you all now make your way to the bar.
Hey, what about that?
Your forehand volley. Come on. Right, we're going to do the draw in a few moments. Remember that.
And on the day the weather has presented the ideal formula for tennis, I've been meeting a man who has just arrived in the Midlands to give a Birmingham Tennis Club his vast coaching experience. Joaquin Loyo Mayo is a former Mexican international who's joined one of the Midlands' most famous clubs. The style is fluent, the shots perfectly placed. Joaquin Loyo Mayo represented Mexico in the Davis Cup between 1965 and 79, a long career. As an under-18-year-old, he was ranked world number 1. Before his move to Birmingham, he was director of 3 top Mexican clubs. Now he'll use the Edgbaston Archery as his base, as he makes available his coaching skills. But he's had years to assess the weakness of the English coaching system.
It's not the best yet, but I think that with the facilities that the LTA is providing for all the players, from the very low level to the highest junior standards, I think that very soon you will see better results from the junior point of view. In fact, it takes a little longer for the English player to mature for several reasons, but the ones that I do think about it is that the facilities were not that easy for many players. The indoor facilities, for example, in all these area Midlands, there are hardly any indoor facilities.
Back in the 60s and 70s, Joaquin won 10 singles and 7 doubles titles in the Mexican National Championship. And he reached the last 16 at Wimbledon and United States Open tournaments. Now he's involved training the successful men's and ladies teams at Edgbaston Archery. And although he may be a long way from the glamour of Wimbledon competition, it means a lot to him to be coach at the oldest lawn tennis club in the world.
Most of us, Wimbledon is over for another year, but for one woman, it's more than just the memories that linger on. Helen O'Leary paid £10 to watch Boris Becker win the men's final. She came away with a lot more than she'd bargained for, as John Yates will now explain.
A moment of triumph for Boris Becker, and a Birmingham fan was about to grab herself an instant heirloom. He threw his priceless Puma into the audience. Today, she who caught it put it through its paces.
Well, fortunately, the game had finished, so a lot of people had made their way home already, and there was just a few people left who waited to see pictures being taken, etc. And on the whole, I think they were a good bunch there, and they just said well done at the end of the day, and we managed to get out quite safely.
It was Helen's first visit to Wimbledon. She wrote off for her £10 ticket in January. When did you realise what a priceless piece of equipment you had in your hands?
I don't think it's sunk in yet. So, yeah.
Has it improved the game at all?
I wish it had, but no.
Helen O'Leary may not be the most promising player at the Edgbaston Archery and Lawn Tennis Society, but she certainly wields the most expensive equipment. Have you actually thought about how much it might be worth?
No, that didn't actually dawn on me at first, but it's beginning to now, yes.
I wondered if there's any chance of Becker writing saying he wants it back.
I'll swap it for the cheque.
Well, what's good enough for Boris Becker is going to be good enough for a coiled spring like me. Play!
Hello and welcome to Collector's Lot in the Garden. Now you may think that lawn tennis was born at Wimbledon, not according to tennis memorabilia collector Chris Elks, who says the game actually originated in Birmingham. What better person to serve up the real history of lawn tennis than Wimbledon champion Virginia Wade?
And here we are at Edgbaston Archery and Lawn Tennis Society in the leafy suburbs of Birmingham. And indeed, we are poised for another crucial game of doubles. And don't the ladies look simply marvellous in their historic tennis outfits? Oh look, yes, I do believe that's Chris Elks, the owner of these splendid costumes. He must be a very proud man today to see his costumes in action. Chris, you really love this game, don't you? I just can't get over these costumes you've got together.
Yes, Virginia, I've always been interested in tennis, and I think it must have been very difficult for ladies when they first started to play tennis.
I know.
Laura's wearing an item from the late Victorian period, long skirt, lots of different layers, a hat.
She's got a bustle at the back.
That's right. It must have been very difficult to move with all those clothes underneath and a bustle at the back.
And then the next age is the beginning of the
1900s, the Edwardian period, yes. The skirts tended to get a little bit shorter then. In 1887, a schoolgirl won Wimbledon, Lottie Dodd, and I think it must have been a lot easier for her to play with when her skirt was at calf length. Ankles were a taboo subject before that period.
I know, you should see my ankles, very taboo. And then we move, well now this is the era that really is the interesting one, because it's like all those incredible pictures of Suzanne Lenglen.
That's right, a classical period for tennis really. Skirts are still quite long, but they tended to be full and very pleated. I think it must have been still quite difficult to play. They didn't have to wear a hat now, they could wear a band round the head, and that became very fashionable in those days.
And then we're moving up into something that looks almost like today's fashion.
It does, this is from the 40s. The blazer was part of the uniform, if you like, in those days. You could see knees this time, though. I suppose it's not much different from what we actually wear today.
Chris, I mean, I'm really staggered at these costumes, but I guess that's just the tip of the iceberg of your collection.
Well, it is, yes, Virginia, yes.
Chris, where on earth did you get this amazing collection of rackets? I don't think even in the museums I've seen so many.
Well, it's quite difficult to find now, but I started off with that racket.
This one?
That's right. And some years ago, I decided that I should add to it.
And these were the ancestors of tennis rackets?
That's right. All these bats and rackets on here were used before lawn tennis started. Quite close to here, there is a garden of Augurio Pereira and Harry Gem, and they played the first game of lawn tennis. Now, there were no rackets, so perhaps they used rackets like this. I suspect they did.
And it also strikes me that tennis suddenly boomed. I mean, once they discovered they could play this game on somebody's lawn, just everybody wanted to be part of it.
That's right. The garden parties and the tennis parties became the thing to do. Okay, here, Virginia, we see the different sorts of handles. Fishtail handles, cork, inlaid handles, great style. And it wasn't until the 1930s that they had a grip.
A leather handle, yes. I mean, and they're all in such beautiful condition.
If you have a spot of rain, it can do a lot of damage to the string and to the frame. And so you had to put your individual racket in a press, or if you had two rackets, a double press, or a club might have a club press for 12 rackets. But next to it, you'll see we've got a few items for measuring the court. This is a special court measure. You place it in the center of your lawn, and you would be able to mark out your lawn easily with that implement.
And now look at all this.
Of course, tennis became not just a game, but it became a whole social experience, and ornaments found their way into houses. We saw before that the girls were wearing jewellery. In fact, I don't know an item that isn't covered in the tennis history.
This is almost my most favourite part of the whole collection, these beautiful little porcelain teacups, and look at the coffee cup. Little lemonade or Pimm's if you would like. And how about just giving it the Wimbledon touch, a little bit of beautiful thick cream to go on those strawberries. This is the life.
And Louise Brady looks at the advantages of the Hyundai Elantra.
days of hot hatches and screaming spoilers are long gone. You're now a responsible adult with a growing family, and you need a safe, luxurious car to suit. Something safe, something luxurious, with all those creature comforts, without that hefty price tag. Which one do you go for? Well, you're probably thinking of the Volvo S40, the Vauxhall Vectra. Well then it's in Primera. But have you ever considered the all-new Hyundai Elantra? And this is it, the top-of-the-range CDX model with its new, sleeker-looking lines. Well, it's okay. It's nothing to shout about, not exactly a showstopper, but it is a family car, and you do get a whole host of extras. On the outside, nice alloy wheels, and they've given you a sunroof. But take a look round the back. Look, a rear spoiler on a family saloon. I ask you. Don't know why they've done that. It doesn't do anything, and the car certainly didn't need it. It's much better off without it. It just spoils the car. Or maybe it's used as a picnic table. Not a bad idea. Strawberries and cream. But on this car, it's the inside that counts, and just take a look. Full leather seats and leather trim on the steering wheel. A sophisticated climate control system that keeps the car at the perfect temperature, hot or cold. Cruise control for a more relaxed motorway journey. And plastic walnut dash. It's awful. Why didn't they just use brushed aluminium? The car would have got away with it. But all this could be yours at the small price of $13,999. The all-new Elantra is longer, taller and wider, and has finally replaced Hyundai's successful Lantra. Available now as a 4-door family saloon and the option of a 5-door hatch. The Elantra is powered by a 2-litre fuel-injected engine which puts out a pretty respectable 139 brake horse. It's just enough to propel the Elantra from standstill to 62 miles per hour in 9.1 seconds. But with a combined fuel figure of 35 miles per gallon, it makes the Elantra quite an attractive proposition. Now the car has a choice of a 5-speed manual gearbox or a 4-speed auto. The auto being the only optional extra at a cost of £849. But it is worth considering when you think it's controlled by HiVet. Now HiVet is Hyundai's intelligent vehicle electronic control, and it reads the car's position. Basically, it'll assess what car the gear needs to be in, and it will skip ratios when necessary, saving on fuel and getting you there a little bit quicker, supposedly. Now Hyundai have done all they can in the safety department, and so they should. It's a family car. Airbags have been improved and added. The driver, passenger and side bags are also used. Side impact bars have been redesigned and strengthened, and inside pillars have been cushioned for your safety. Anti-lock brakes are standard across the whole range, boasting what Hyundai call electronic brake force distribution. Clever, because that allows the weight to be distributed from front to rear depending on the weight of the vehicle and the cargo and passengers, which allows you to stop very smoothly and very safely. So off the brakes and onto the power, and the Elantra is held safely on the black top by a sophisticated traction control system which allows any unwanted sideways excursions. Now what you do notice about the Elantra is peace and quiet. You don't get that nasty engine growl, and certainly not as you're changing gear either. It's very quiet. The manufacturers Hyundai have improved soundproofing not under the bonnet but also on the interior of the car as well. But what I really like about this car is the comfort factor. Well, the seats are great. They may not be clad in the finest quality leather in the world, but relax and sit back and kind of enjoy the ride. question is, does it work well as a family package? Yes, I think it does. When it's standing direct to its competition, not only does it annihilate them on price, but also it's got a lot more extras. And Hyundai do offer a roadside warranty and a 3-year unlimited mileage cover. So they've obviously got a lot of faith in their product. The question is, what will it be like in 5 years' time? You know, when the kids have crawled all over the back seat and it's been down to the club a few times. And what will its second-hand value be? Well, maybe we'll have to wait and see. Is it game, set and match to Hyundai? Or is it advantage competition?
First, though, it's been a good day for British tennis. You can't fail to have heard that Tim Henman is through after a nail-biting finish, and we've got our own back for Brazil knocking us out of the World Cup. Steve, it is pretty encouraging, isn't it?
It certainly is, Michael, at the moment. I'm here at the Edgbaston Tennis and Archery Club in Birmingham, and you've seen Rob Walters doing his football skills on the programme. Well, how about this? I certainly taught Tim Henman nothing, but I do know a few facts about him. This will be his 4th semi-final at Wimbledon. He's regarded as one of the best British players for 60 years, but he's actually never won a Grand Slam, so we'll hope to change that soon. And his 4th round match recently drew 13 million viewers on BBC One. That's a higher viewing figure for Wimbledon for more than a decade, so he's certainly a star. And as Devon Daly's been finding out, people in these parts are starting to believe that this really could be Henman's year.
Tim Henman showing the sort of form that has fixed fans in front of their TVs for more than a week. None keener than 80-year-old Bobby Holland, a lifelong tennis lover, hoping to see Henman crowned men's champion.
I've been a tennis player since a very early age, and I've always been keen on tennis. And of course I'm a fan of Tim's because he's a Brit, obviously.
So what makes Henman so special? Tennis coach Bill Brown has a few ideas.
His quickness, his world-class backhand, but certainly the great hands that Henman has. He is a tremendous volleyer.
Those talents helped Henman secure a 4-set victory, 6-3, 5-7, 6-4, 6-3, and a semi-final clash with #1 seed Leighton Hewitt, much to the joy of Bobby Holland.
At the moment, things are looking hopeful. And if he doesn't win this year, well, I don't think he's going to do it, because honestly, there's so few C's left in that he really should do it this year, I think, and I should be, you know, really cheering for him and looking forward to seeing him in the final. Cheers, Tim. Here's your next match.
Well, thanks, Devon. Let's really hope this is Tim's year. It's about time for him, isn't it?
Across the West Midlands and Warwickshire, BBC WM.
Now, you might not know this, but Birmingham boasts the oldest surviving tennis club in the world. And now, thanks to an American collector, it's about to be reunited with one of the oldest tennis trophies in the world. It's in front of me now, and it's a mighty fine specimen, I can say. It's a shield from 1887. It was discovered in Canada, and after some detective work worthy of Inspector Morse, its links with the Edgbaston Archery and Lawn Tennis Society were uncovered. And I'm pleased to say that the man who's made the discovery, Ray Flint from Florida, is with me this morning. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
And also Bob Holland from the Edgbaston Tennis Club. Hello, Bob.
Morning.
So, Ray, this trophy, I'll just describe it. It's kind of got a velvet background, and then it's got this big, huge silver centrepiece, and engraved in the middle is a picture of some chaps playing tennis in long trousers. You can see how old it is. How did you come by it?
Which is rather ironic, because it is the Ladies' Challenge trophy as well.
But it is chaps, isn't it?
It is men, yes.
Presented by Mrs. Hugo Young, it has engraved on here, 1887. So how did you get hold of it in Florida?
Yes, I discovered it in actually Toronto, Canada, back in 1971, and it wasn't quite 100 years old at that time, so I thought I would wait until it was 100 and then do some investigation. I guess 100 was a benchmark in the is in the antique world.
So when it reached that, what did you do to find out its link back to Birmingham?
Well, I once again did nothing. I left it secluded in its room where it sat with 200 bottles of wine until roughly 2.5 months ago now, when I took it out of its box, polished it up, and headed for Canada, where I thought Tennis Canada would have some history. That failed, and in the United States as well, in Newport, Rhode Island, the International Hall of Fame had no records whatsoever. So then I decided that my best bet would be to investigate the name Elkington, which drew me straight into Birmingham.
Elkington is
the manufacturer.
It's just a very tiny engraving on the bottom, isn't it?
Yes, that it's identified as an Elkington. Plus, it has the kite mark giving the dates of March the 21st, 1883, when the design was made, and then fabricated in 1887 by their new copper type, electro copper type patented process that the Elkingtons in Birmingham had invented.
So all these clues led you back to Birmingham and the Elkington.
Yes.
Factory.
And this was all within the last 3 weeks.
Gosh.
And all the names have now, with the help of Bob and some of his colleagues, the Youngs, the Astons, and the Elkingtons all bring this together to hone it in on Edgbaston.
Excellent. Now, Bob, how important is this to the club? Did you think this was lost forever?
Well, we to be honest, we didn't know anything about it. I mean, clearly we've read our minute books. We have our minute books dating back to when we started in 1860, and we were aware there was a tournament being played. But when you don't have the actual trophy itself, you don't grieve over it. We just thought it was lost in the mist of time somewhere. And of course, when we heard that Ray was sitting on it across the water, we were just absolutely amazed. It's a very important find, obviously, for our club, not just for our club, but for lawn tennis in Britain as a whole. Because 1887, of course, is 3 years after the first All England Championships for ladies was held at Wimbledon in 1884, won by Maud Watson. So 3 years later, we have a trophy which is of equal, if not better quality, perhaps, than the one that was played for it in London.
Absolutely. What's going to happen to it now?
That's something that Ray and I haven't discussed.
We're presently investigating the origin of it relative to Elkington, relative to Hugo Young, relative to Miss G.M. Aston, who won it for 3 consecutive years, 87, 88 and 89.
There's her name on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. And the Edgbaston Club. So the fortunate thing is we have control of it, and it is in Birmingham today. So,
well, chaps, thanks very much indeed for bringing that in. Bob Holland from Edgbaston Tennis Club, very much grateful to you. And to Ray as well. Ray, next time you come in, don't just bring the trophy in, bring those 200 bottles of wine as well.
Heritage Open Days is the biggest celebration in the UK of architecture, history and culture, and it happens over the Heritage Open Day weekends, which runs from the Thursday the 9th of September to the 12th, Sunday the 12th. There's over 300 events happening across the region. There's 72 either villages, towns or cities taking part, and 40 new events this year that haven't taken part or previously, and places that don't usually open to the public, like this one.
Visitors on the day, on Sunday the 12th in the afternoon, will be able to see these grass courts here, which are the oldest lawn tennis playing surface in the world, and not normally open to the public. They're only open to members. The reason for us opening the club to the public this year as part of the English Heritage Scheme is that we are 150 years old. It was felt that we should be making this more public, really. It's part of Birmingham's heritage, it's part of lawn tennis's heritage, and it's been a rather too well kept secret. They will also be able to look at some tennis memorabilia, some old tennis rackets from the early days of tennis in the 1870s.
Well, we're hoping to try and show the whole progression over a period of nearly 200 years of tennis costume. The Victorian costume is perhaps the most attractive because people have not got any conception at all of what ladies in the Victorian period had to wear generally. And when it came to playing tennis, they found that it was very, very restricting. But they're quite pretty to look at. Volumes of skirts, tight corsets, bustles, pretty jewellery. But when we get into the 20s and 30s, that really was a very fashionable time for tennis clothing. The hems got shorter. Ladies were allowed to show arms and necks and heads, although they did tend to wear headbands or hair nets, something to keep the hair in place. So it was a much freer time, and 20s costumes remind you of the flapper times, and I think men liked those better.
All the events are free. You just need to go to the Heritage Open Days website or phone the free phone number to find out exactly what events are happening, what days they're opening and what times.
After a tough day in the classroom, I've invited 3 of the girls to let off some steam.
Hiya. Hi, lovely ladies. How are you? Good, thank you. You've escaped from school. How nice does that feel? Lovely. It's all the rage for girls like you to play a spot of tennis. Who wants to go with me, because I'm rubbish?
Me.
OK. Grab a racket. Let's have a quick game of doubles, yeah?
At this time, ordinary schools had few PE facilities. Tennis courts were only available to teens at posh fee-paying schools. But by 1897, companies like Cadbury's in Birmingham were providing courts for factory workers and their families.
Juice!
For most young women, this was the only way to afford the luxury of a match.
Oh. Ow! I'm so sorry. It's all right. The corset protected me. You know what? It's because you're wearing a corset, Jessel. That's what it is.
Otherwise, it'd be so much better.
You'd be amazing otherwise. Do you feel quite scared, like you don't want to leap around like you would? I mean, what do you normally wear in games?
Usually, I've got like sports leggings and a t-shirt. So if like I move too far, then it's all right.
Yeah.
But because I'm in this, I feel like if I move, I'm going to rip something or break something, like my arms or my legs, to be honest.
At the first Wimbledon Ladies' Championship in 1884, Maud Watson won the cup in full corset and skirts.
Gather round. I've got some nice refreshments for you girls. Lemonade! Girls, can I congratulate you on a marvellous game of tennis? How fabulous was it to get away from school?
It's mad. It's like you wouldn't expect that. Because you're cooped up in a classroom, you're being told, like, you're not really going to have a lot of freedom, whereas, like, we're out here playing, like, having fun. Like, it's really nice.
Despite being hit by the ball by Jessel.
Despite the attacks, we really liked it.
Yeah!
We did uncover a violence for you, Jessel. I think we need to talk about this. Fine, let's have some more lemonade. God.